Achad Vam Elu. So Rashi says, B'Shem Chazal, Acha Dvorav Shal Satan. After the words of the Satan, Shahaya Mekatrik Ba'ayman, he was prosecuting and saying, Mikol Suda Sh'os Abram, from the whole Suda that Abram made, he didn't bring you a par or a ayah. He made such a fancy suda that after he got married with Yitzchak, so where is his thankfulness? He didn't even have you in mind to bring a par or an ayah. Amalei, Hashem said to him, Klum asa elo b'shvil b'noi. This whole party was only for his son. Could you imagine? If I would tell him, Zavach also l'farna, bring me as a sacrifice before me. Lo yehoyer ma'akim. He never would have held it. So this is where the whole thing came in. The beginning of the Akedah started that the Satan came to Hashem and said he made such a fabulous suda. He made such a fabulous reception. And for you, he didn't bring a par or an ayah. So Hashem said to him, he made this whole thing for me. But if I would have told him to bring his son to me, he wouldn't hold back. Now, the question still starts. Lama nisbara, Lama omnam Avram lahikriv korban im leidas Yitzchak. Ki haydo ale b'aris bara. Why didn't he do it? He could have been thankful to Hashem that he was zeichet to such a big miracle. So he shouldn't bring for you a korban. Why didn't he bring it? That the Satan had to tell him that if I would tell him to bring his son, he would bring his son. Meniva. So Rav Moshe Sternberg says, it appears to me, Shabram Avinu lo bikish bonim, rak yidesh yisrael lo shein ushe'evis. He didn't want children that he should have a family that follows up to him. Then you'd be right. If he gives you a family member, he should be thankful for it. But that's not the point. The point wasn't that. Ela Ratzav Ben only wanted for a son, he should be born with holiness and pureness. I'm happy to have the son, not so much for me. I'm happy to have the son that there'll be a follower after me to bring Kedusha and Torah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ukshenolat Yitzchak, when Yitzchak was born, Ruah B'kach, he saw that Simcha Lahabayve Isbara. He was happy for Hashem. Shebenoi Mugdash Hashem Lepadoi. That Yitzchak will only be given over to Hashem. Vayikriv korban, shlohigish b'zeh hanoye ishis. It wasn't a family thing. It wasn't a personal simcha that he should give a thankfulness to Hashem. His simcha was only for Hashem. Shebenoi Mugdash Hashem Lepadoi. Vayirahikriv korban shlohigish b'zeh hanoye ishis. He didn't bring a korban because it wasn't a personal happiness. Like a father is zeicher to a son. His whole kavanah was for Hashem alone. Now the question is, if this is the whole happiness of Avram, why did Hashem have to tell him, go and bring him as a sacrifice? The answer is, he wanted to prove that this is really Avram. Avram has no personal happiness in this. The proof, because he's willing to be makriv completely to Hashem. This is a proof that it was Hashem's simcha and not his simcha. And that's why he did not bring the Parashat. He didn't bring it. To prove that it's not something that I'm happy for myself, it's something that I'm happy for Hashem. And it's interesting. It says, Vayashkem Avram Baboka. Avram, hearing the mitzvah to bring him as a sacrifice, he woke up in the morning. So the Brisker Rav says, what does it mean he woke up in the morning? He woke up like all other mornings. He did not have any regrets. He did not have any fears. He did not have any thinking, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. No, these things never came into his mind. He woke up happily like he wakes up any other day. Even though he knows he's going to bring Yitzchak as a sacrifice. He got up in the morning and he took the two young boys with him. Who are the two young boys? He took Eliezer, his servant, and he also took Ishmael. And when it came to a certain point, it said, Shvu lechem po. You rest here. Vani vanar elecha tov. And I'm going to go and I'll come back to you. So the question is, what's wrong if they go? What's wrong if Ishmael goes? What's wrong if Eliezer goes? Because Ishmael wouldn't object it. And Eliezer won't question it. So what's wrong if they go? So you have to say, V'nira. Moshe Sternberg says, Shavram Ram Aroichik Amud Anon. He saw from far. In the morning, he saw like a cloud over there. He saw Amud Anon. Kimabuya Barashi Khan, like Rashi says here. V'zehu. And what does this Amud Anon, this cloud represent? Hipnei Hashvaras HaShechina. There was Shechina there. Like Rashi says, that the Shechit of Yitzchak on the Akedah was like the Kohen Gadol going into the Kodesh Kodashim. And since it says, by the Kodesh Kodashim, it says that B'chol Adam lo yikones v'socho. Nobody's allowed to go in. And the Gemara asks, what about the Kohen Gadol? He's also a person. So the Gemara answers, no. He became like a very holy malach. And this was the Bechina of Avraham Avinu with the Akedah. That while he was doing the Akedah, it was Bechinas Kodesh Kodashim. And nobody's allowed to go in there. That's why he didn't want Ishmael, and he didn't want Eliezer there. It's brought down. Vayaket es Yitzchak binav. And he tied him up. Ama Yitzchak Avram. Yitzchak said to Avram, Abba, Tati, Kashveni, Bekoshu, Ukshor, Yodai v'Raglai. tie me up and tie my hands and feet. Because maybe an accident will happen. Meaning that Yitzchak is only human. It's only human. And sometimes there are human instincts that come up and he's not able to control it. He's afraid that maybe you give me the shechita, my foot will give a kick. It will come out that I will be over and being mechab with your father. This was Yitzchak's fear. And the Baruch wants to see the Roim Onu Bikan. What do we see over here? Oimek Pachat Hadin. What is the fear of the din? It says on the Sanat Toikev, Umalachim Yechofezim. Malachim tremble. Bechil Uchaza Oichezim. And the tremble takes them on. Because Hine Yom Hadinbo. And over here too the same thing is. Here too the same thing is. He says, take a look. Yitzchak went to be Moishe Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. This was a tremendous sacrifice. The Akedah is a base of merit for Klal Yisrael in all generations. So what if it do give him a kick? So what? But I'm accomplishing such great things. But this is the Oimek Hadin. The Oimek Hadin is even. If it's a little bit of a transgression, it's not worth the whole thing. They also prove it from Tamar. When Tamar was already pregnant, Yehuda was him from Yabin. And they told Yehuda that she is pregnant, and Yehuda said, take her out to be burned. Now actually, Tamar was carrying the Melech HaMashiach. She was carrying the king for Klal Yisrael. Yeah? And she could have said, it's you. But she didn't say that. What did she say? To the person that gave him his seal and his ring, this is who it belongs to. So we see, over there too, we see the Oimek Hadin. You see the Oimek Hadin, because the Gemara says, Mutat La'adam, that it's better for a person that he should be thrown into a fire than to be malvin Haveva Baram, to shame Yehuda. She could have shamed him. She said, it's you. But she didn't say that. What did she say? To the one that belongs, the ring and the seal, he is this person. And there we see that even though she was carrying the Melech HaMashiach, right? Parrots, and the other one that came out, I forgot. Sarach and Parrots came out. Sarach and Parrots. So we see that it's mutif, as a person should not shame somebody without him, even though he's doing the greatest things. Another proof they bring from Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu says, Och yesh Elokim b'makom hazeh. I didn't realize that there's a Hashem in this place. He didn't realize when he was sleeping in the Makom HaMikdash. V'anoichi lo yedati. So the Gemara says, Limud. He himself says it. Im hoya yodea lehoya yoshen. If he would have known that Hashem is here, he wouldn't have slept. So the question is, what means the Hayoshin? You know what Hashem promised Yaakov there on the Hamariah? I'll be with you. I will watch you. I will give you food. I will give you drink. All these promises. He says, no, all these promises are not worth it if I slept in a place where Hashem was there. So we see from here the greatness of the Akedah that Yitzchak said, I don't, Chas v'shalom, want to be prepared because of the father. And also we see from Tamar, she didn't want to be Mevazer, Yehuda, and it's better to be thrown into the fire, even though the Melech HaMashiach is coming out of her. And also by Yaakov, we see that he said that if he would have known, he wouldn't have slept. This is the office. These are the greatness of our fathers. This is the true love to Hashem, that even if it's the smallest transgression, they don't want it.